All right, let's dive right into this explainer and clear up a pretty massive misconception for all you healthcare students out there. People always say medical billing and coding like it's just one thing, right? One single job. But honestly, when you really look under the hood, they are two completely distinct careers that call for very different abilities and personality traits. So let's explore exactly how they differ and how they actually come together to keep the entire healthcare industry running.
Here is our quick roadmap for today. We'll start with the healthcare revenue cycle, look at medical coders as our translators, then medical billers as the conduits, talk a bit about patient interaction and empathy, and finally wrap up with work environments and entry credentials.
All right, Section 1, the healthcare revenue cycle. Now, before we pull these two roles apart, we really need to see how they fit into the ultimate goal, getting healthcare providers paid. It's a complete team effort. Billers and coders collaborate seamlessly to keep this single revenue cycle moving from start to finish. It kicks off with Step 1, patient registration. Once a patient is actually seen, we move to Step 2, medical coding, where all that clinical data gets extracted. That flows right into Step 3, claim submission, which is handled by the biller. And finally, Step 4, final reimbursement. Trust me, if either of these roles drops the ball, this whole machine just grinds to a halt.
Moving on to Section 2, medical coders, the translators. Let's zoom in on the very first gear in this machine. Coders are kind of like the behind-the-scenes heroes. They act as clinical translators, looking at really dense physician documentation. Think operative reports and complex office notes, and converting those treatments into standardized numeric and alphanumeric codes. It's absolutely a job for someone who loves the nitty-gritty details, because it requires laser focus to read through these complex charts and accurately abstract the data so a computer system can understand it. So, to translate all this medicine into math, a coder has to be fluent in a few specific languages. The two main code sets you'll encounter are ICD-10 and CPT. To break it down simply, ICD-10 codes describe the why, as in, what is the patient's specific illness or injury? CPT codes, on the other hand, describe the what. What were the actual procedures the provider performed? It is 100% on the coder to get this perfectly accurate to ensure the facility gets the right compensation.
Which brings us to Section 3, medical billers, the conduits.
In their day-to-day, it is super action-oriented. Billers take that coded data and submit the claims electronically. But listen, their job is definitely not done the second they hit send. Not at all. They process payments and, honestly, perhaps most importantly, they fight for them. If an insurance carrier rejects the claim, the biller has to get in there, resolve the denial, and advocate for proper payment. They also issue patient statements, making sure the healthcare practitioner is ultimately and fairly compensated.
Let's shift gears to Section 4, patient interaction and empathy.
Now, there's a great quote from our source material that just hits the nail on the head regarding the human element of these careers. It says, working with patients is billing. Most coders don't. It's such a simple phrase, right? But it completely defines the fork in the road here. If you're someone who prefers to work quietly in the background alongside the clinical staff, then coding is your jam. But billing puts you right out there on the front line.
And because they're on that front line, billers absolutely have to have strong interpersonal skills. Think about it. They're often talking to patients who are ill, injured, or incredibly stressed out about unexpected medical costs. So a medical biller has to use deep empathy, professionalism, and a lot of compassion to help them understand tricky concepts like their financial responsibilities. Coders, meanwhile, rarely, if ever, actually speak with patients.
Finally, let's look at Section 5, environments and entry credentials.
Where you actually end up working heavily dictates whether these jobs are totally separate or mashed together. In larger institutions like hospitals, the sheer volume means responsibilities are split into highly distinct coding and billing jobs for specialized departments. But if you look at smaller private practices, you'll often find employees who wear both hats and combine the roles to save on operational costs. Just know that if you go that route and do double duty, you have to be prepared to put in twice the effort to master both fields. Depending on which of those paths sounds better to you, you'll want to target specific entry-level credentials. Say you want to wear both hats for a smaller practice. Then you should really look at the NHA, the National Healthcare Career Association. Their Certified Billing and Coding Specialist credential actually covers both. But on the flip side, if you want to strictly focus on coding for a larger facility, you'll want to check out AHIMA. Their Certified Coding Associate, or CCA, proves you have the expertise for coding. So align your certification with your desired daily environment. So, I want to leave you with this question to chew on. Which path actually fits your personality better?
Are you the meticulous, behind-the-scenes translator mapping out complex medical procedures? Or are you the frontline financial conduit, using empathy to guide stressed patients? Finding the right fit really makes all the difference. Please like, share, and subscribe to Decode Healthcare with Harshal.